Loki. Loki operates in a world shaped by oaths, where nearly everything in existence has sworn not to harm Baldur, the most beloved of the Norse gods. That protection looks absolute until you realize one small plant was never asked. Mistletoe. It's light, forgettable, and completely ignored. Loki doesn't just notice that gap. He builds an entire plan around it. He shapes the plan into a weapon, then avoids suspicion entirely by placing it in someone else's hands. Hooter, the blind god, becomes the delivery system. During what appears to be a harmless game, Loki guides the throw. No one questions it. No one sees it coming. The strike lands exactly where it needs to. Baldur falls and the illusion of invulnerability collapses with him. By the time anyone understands what happened, Loki has already stepped away from the scene, leaving confusion to do the rest of the work. Perseus. Perseus is dealing with a different kind of problem in the Greek world, a target that turns you to stone the moment you look at it. So he removes sight from the equation. Instead of facing Medusa directly, he uses reflection. A polished shield becomes his eyes, allowing him to track her without ever meeting her gaze. That single adjustment changes everything. He approaches while she sleeps, eliminating movement and noise as variables. With a blade designed for a clean cut, he ends it in one motion. But the operation doesn't stop there. Even after death, Medusa remains dangerous. Perseus contains the head immediately, sealing it away before it can become a liability. What could have been a suicidal mission turns into a controlled extraction, with a weapon he can reuse later. Set. Set's method unfolds inside the structure of Egyptian royal life, where trust and ceremony create opportunities most enemies would never have. He doesn't attack Osiris. He studies him. Measurements are taken quietly, disguised as hospitality. A chest is built to exact specifications, crafted to fit only one person perfectly. Then comes the setting, a banquet filled with witnesses who see nothing unusual. The offer is simple. Whoever fits inside the chest wins it. Osiris steps in. The moment he does, the trap closes. The lid is sealed, the body contained, and the chest is removed from the scene entirely, cast into the Nile before anyone can react. There's no struggle, no spectacle, just a controlled disappearance engineered from start to finish. Cú Chulainn. Cú Chulainn doesn't rely on large-scale battles. In the Irish Ulster cycle, he breaks conflicts down into something far more manageable, one opponent at a time. The setting matters. He positions himself at narrow crossings where movement is restricted and support is impossible. Anyone who wants to pass has to face him alone. That's where the advantage locks in. His weapon, the Gaibolga, is designed not just to kill, but to ensure there's no recovery. Delivered from the water using his foot, it enters low and expands inside the body, making survival impossible. Fights don't drag on. They end quickly, decisively, and in full view of anyone watching. Each encounter removes a key opponent without escalating into full-scale war, turning what should be chaotic conflict into a controlled series of eliminations. Susanoo. Susanoo is up against something that can attack from multiple directions at once. An 8-headed serpent from Japanese legend that can't be handled through direct confrontation. So he changes the conditions before the fight begins. Instead of rushing in, he prepares a trap. 8 vats of strong sake are placed strategically, each one positioned to draw in a different head. The creature drinks. Coordination breaks down almost immediately. Reaction slows. The advantage shifts. Only then does Susanoo move. He doesn't rush or swing wildly. He works methodically, moving from one head to the next, eliminating each threat before it can respond. What looked like a single overwhelming enemy becomes a sequence of isolated targets. The victory isn't about strength, it's about control. Tezcatlipoca. Tezcatlipoca's approach in the Aztec world doesn't involve weapons at all. His target isn't the body, it's the image holding everything together. Quetzalcoatl's authority depends on discipline, perception, and public belief. So that's exactly where the attack is aimed. It begins with a disguise. Appearing as a healer, Tezcatlipoca introduces doubt first, using a mirror to show a version of Quetzalcoatl that conflicts with how he's seen himself. Then comes the second step, intoxication. presented as treatment. Judgment slips, control weakens, and the failure doesn't happen in private. It happens where it can be seen. Once the image breaks, everything built on top of it collapses. Power fades, exile follows, and the removal is complete without a single strike being thrown. Shiva. Shiva faces a different kind of challenge within Hindu tradition. Multiple targets that can't be taken down individually. Three massive cities move independently, each one protected in its own domain. Attacking them separately would mean failure every time. So the solution isn't force, it's timing. He waits for the one moment when all three align, a rare event that only happens once in an immense span of time. When that window opens, he acts immediately. One shot. All three are destroyed in the same instant. What would have required endless effort is solved through patience and precision, turning an impossible situation into a single decisive action. Nezha. Nezha's confrontation unfolds along the Chinese coast, where his opponent holds absolute control over the ocean itself. Fighting there would be a mistake, so he doesn't. Instead, he forces the encounter onto land, stripping away that environmental advantage and replacing it with speed and mobility. Once the ground is even, he takes control quickly, binding, restricting, and targeting the points that disable power before delivering the final strike. But the real calculation comes after. He knows retaliation is inevitable. The political consequences don't disappear just because the fight is over. So he removes the leverage entirely, sacrificing his own body and later returning in a new form that can't be used against him the same way. The outcome isn't just a victory in combat, it's a solution to everything that follows it. Across these stories, from the Norse gods to Greek heroes, Egyptian rulers, and beyond, the pattern doesn't change. The most effective kills aren't driven by strength. They're built on preparation, on understanding systems, exploiting weaknesses, and choosing the exact moment when resistance disappears. Because in mythology, the difference between a fight and an execution is planning. If you think the killers were dangerous, wait until you see the creatures they unleash to hunt, guard, and destroy. Watch every hellhound in mythology. Explain next, some of these beasts weren't just monsters, they were weapons. If you enjoyed this myth, join us for more myths deconstructed.